Hadley Heath Manning, Director of Policy at the Independent Women's Forum. Hadley, welcome back to the show.
Of course, always a pleasure.
I saw a bunch of these people walking around with signs that said things like, "Stop big oil," and something, 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 my cervix. I wasn't quite sure what the unified concept is. Maybe you know.
Well, the unifying principle, as far as we can tell in practice, for this year's Women's March and last year's March, which coincided with Inauguration Weekend, is really an anti-Trump sentiment. I think it's easier to define the Women's March by what it's against than what it's for. Many women, of course, in this country celebrate the changes that have happened over the course of the last year because of the Trump agenda, whether it's tax cuts or deregulation, leaving the Clean Power Plan, or maybe it's a different approach to foreign policy. So women who are in that boat are left in an awkward position when the women's marchers try to frame 2018 as a battle between women's interests and the Trump agenda. Those two things aren't really as opposed as the women's marchers would like to paint them.
But don't women also participate in the economy? I mean, don't they start businesses and spend money and hopefully save money? I mean, isn't a healthy economy also pro-woman?
That's right, and
or
the
am I just
unemployment
a mouthpiece
rate
for the patriarchy?
Oh, Kennedy, I don't think that's what you are at all. I think if you look at the numbers, the unemployment rate for women in this country is at the lowest point that it's been. It's at 3.7%, and that's the lowest since January 2001. So there's a lot to celebrate. Women are re-entering the workforce in a lot of cases. They are finding the jobs that they want, jobs that we hope that are paying more, as the corporate tax rate translates to better bonuses, better wages and benefits for millions of workers, many of them women. And so, yes, we should celebrate the changes to the economy that we've seen over the course of the last year. Women aren't just workers, they're business owners. The Small Business Administration lent a higher number of loans to women-owned businesses in the last year. And as the stock market continues to do well, women are investors. We're happy to see that the market's doing well.
No, it's really weird how, as a human being, you can go ahead and do all that stuff, regardless of gender or gametes. If you have an ovary or two, you can go ahead and get a small business loan. It's really great. Oh, God.
That's right. I think the dangerous part of, both the conversation that was being had around the SAG Awards and around the Women's March is that sometimes issues that should have widespread appeal, for example, combating sexual assault, combating sexual violence, that's not a partisan issue. Everyone generally agrees that those are bad things that we should fight against as a society.
Absolutely.
But when you mix those issues in, for example, as the way the Time's Up campaign is attempting to do with other issues like wage equality and attempting to close the wage gap, that's where the debate gets often very murky, because we all can support equal pay for equal work, but we also recognize that the wage gap isn't a good metric for discrimination. And so I hope that we can keep our heads on straight here as we consider different issues and sort of keep the politics out of standing up for women, because women are not a voting bloc. We have very disparate opinions, and we should have the right to express those opinions. I salute the women's marchers for getting out there and doing just that. But to pretend like their movement is one for all women is really a false framing.
Or for one party. So well said, Hadley Heath Manning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.